Hello to all my awesome Code Unknown family. Thank you for joining me on what promises to be a truly fascinating deep dive. If you're new here, welcome to the team. If you enjoy what you see during this video, then please press the like button, as it does truly help this channel. And while you're at it, press the subscribe button and the notification button. That way you can join us for every single future investigation, because trust me, you will not want to miss out. With that out the way, it's time for today's case file. The disappearance of Mike Hotel 370. What really happened to flight MH370? Over the years, this file has grown into one of aviation's most unsettling mysteries. Let's open it up and see what we've got. This file is officially declassified. The first case entry in this file is about the aircraft itself. The Boeing 777 isn't just any plane, it's the gold standard for long-haul flights. A machine built for vast distances, top-tier safety features, and a spotless record to back it up. For aviation buffs, it's a work of art. Powerful engines, state-of-the-art navigation, and a long-standing reputation as one of the safest planes to ever fly around the globe. And yes, I do mean globe. Sorry, flat earthers, this story might just not be for you. But here's the twist. Not everything with Boeing was smooth sailing. Around this time, cracks were showing in their image. Rushed production, cost-cutting measures, questionable practices. Now, MH370 was an older, trusted model, unaffected by these issues. But still, it does leave the question, just how solid was that safety guarantee? And then there's this incredible plane's experienced crew. Starting with Captain Zahari Shan, a veteran pilot with over 18,000 flight hours. He was respected, he was disciplined. He even had a home flight simulator to practice the 777 down to the smallest detail. If anyone knew this plane inside and out, it was him. And next to him, First Officer Fareeq Hamid, a young, ambitious and newly qualified on the 777 pilot. This was his first flight without a training instructor on board, but with Captain Zahari guiding him, he had the very best mentor one could ask for. On paper, it was perfect. A seasoned crew, a trusted aircraft, a routine route. But sometimes, even the best prepared plans fall apart. And for MH370, what started as an ordinary night was about to become one of aviation's greatest mysteries. This leads me to Case Entry 2, the passengers. On board that night there was 227 passengers, a mix of nationality but mainly Chinese and Malaysian, with a handful of Westerners to boot. Businessmen, families, students, regular people, each with their own stories, all just heading to Beijing. Among the fated passengers, there were 20 employees from a company called Freescale Semiconductor, a tech company working on cutting-edge electronics. To conspiracy theories, this was jackpot. You see, these weren't just ordinary employees, they were engineers, the best of the best. You couldn't script a more compelling argument for foul play. And then there's a Mr. Philip Wood, an American IBM executive. He was just a guy on a business trip. Or was there more to his story? It didn't take long for the internet sleuths to weave theories about what these passengers knew, or what they might have been carrying to make MH370 a target. Then there was 2 passengers boarding the plane with stolen passports. Authorities later dismissed them as asylum seekers, but the timing? Well, it's suspicious. Even now, some people aren't convinced that these 2 weren't involved. The stark truth is, however, that most of the 227 were just ordinary travellers. But in a case like this, even ordinary details become a web of questions. Could 1, 2, or a group of passengers been involved in what was to come next? This leads me onto case entry 3, the flight itself. On March 8th, 2014, just after midnight, MH370 taxis down the runway at Kuala Lumpur. Its destination? Beijing. A flight that is done quite often. Captain Zahari and First Officer Farik run through their checks, engines hum to life, and at 12:21 AM, they're airborne, climbing steadily to 35,000 feet. Smooth. Routine. For the first 40 minutes, it's business as usual. A calm night. Nothing out of the ordinary. At 1:19 AM, First Officer Farik radios Malaysian Airline Traffic Control. His final words? Calm. And again, routine.
370 maintaining level 350.
Malaysian 370. Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
But less than 2 minutes later, the plane vanishes. Gone from radar. Silent. The transponder, the very thing that lets everybody know where the plane is, stops transmitting. Vietnamese controllers, expecting the plane in their airspace, see nothing. They call out. But there's no answer. Back in Malaysia, controllers try reaching the crew, but they get nothing. A plane carrying 227 people doesn't just vanish. But that's exactly what MH370 did. With MH370 officially missing, the search kicked into high gear. Malaysian Airlines, together with local authorities, mobilised every resource: planes, helicopters, ships, all combing the South China Sea. For those first critical hours, there was hope. Maybe the plane made an emergency landing. Maybe it was drifting somewhere, waiting to be found. But as the hours tick by, that hope begins to fade. Crews covered thousands of square miles. They found nothing. No debris, no distress signals. Not a single clue. It was as if the plane had been swallowed up by the sea itself, leaving no discernible trace. Back in the control rooms, the tension was palpable. Voice was strained but professional. A Malaysian official asked about emergency signals, trying desperately to hide his frustration. The Vietnamese controllers, exhausted and understandably anxious, responded bluntly, nothing. They tried every frequency, every channel, but only got dead silence. And a Thai official, sounding almost resigned to their fate, admitted they had asked every nearby pilot, but still, no one saw a thing. It was like MH370 had disappeared into thin air, leaving behind only questions and confusion. Within hours, this became a global effort. Vietnam, China, Thailand, Indonesia, and even the United States joined the search. Navies deployed ships, satellites scanned the waters. Every resource was thrown into finding MH370. But for the families, it was agony. Waiting for news, clinging to hope, watching the hours turn into days, and the days into weeks. The search area just grew and grew, eventually over to 120,000 square kilometres. But still, no sign of the plane. If MH370 was out there, it was hidden, remote. And the longer the search went on, the less likely it was ever going to be found. And that leads us to the fifth case entry in this file. The theories. The pain felt by the families, their need for answers, has been both MH370's biggest inspiration and its cruelest curse. Everyone determined to ease the pain dug deep into the mystery. But when a case this big goes unsolved, theories don't just step outside the box, they create a whole new reality. In this entry, I'm going to dive into the more credible theories and some of the most, the type of theories that make even flat earthers sound reasonable. Let's start with the basics. A mechanical failure. The Boeing 777 had a stellar safety record. It was built for long distances and high altitudes. But even the best planes aren't invincible. Some experts believe a sudden depressurization or electrical failure could have taken out the plane's systems. The crew might have been incapacitated before they could even send a distress signal. In this scenario, the plane could have flown on autopilot. There is a feature called ghost flight, which allows the plane to drift aimlessly until it runs out of fuel. It's happened before. Planes have flown for hours after losing all onboard life. But here's the thing. Even with the mechanical failure, there should have been some kind of signal. A ping, a beacon, something instead of silence. These planes, especially the Boeing 777, has fail-safes built in that automatically send out signals if something like a depressurization happens. So personally, I'm not entirely sold on mechanical failure. Next up, hijacking. It's a classic theory for aviation mysteries. Early investigations showed that two passengers boarded MH370 with stolen passports, and immediately alarm bells rang between conspiracy theorists. But after digging deeper, authorities found that these guys were simply asylum seekers. No connections to terrorism, no evidence of a plot. The amount of sheer planning and dedication it would take for two people to hijack a 777 for whatever reason, it's almost unthinkable, it's almost unimaginable, and it's certainly very unlikely. So if it's not these two passengers, what about the crew? Could someone inside the cockpit have switched off the transponder and taken control? It would explain the sudden loss of contact. It would explain the course change. And it would certainly explain the silence. But hijackers usually have demands. They have ransoms, political statements. With MH370, there was nothing, not a dicky bird. But now, here's where things get controversial. Theory 3. Pilot involvement. Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah was an experienced pilot, one of the best Malaysian Airlines had. But investigators found a flight simulator at his home with the route of the Indian Ocean, a route suspiciously close to MH370's presumed path. However, his loved ones were adamant. Zahari was a professional, he was dedicated. There was absolutely no way he could possibly do this. But patterns in the plane's movement suggest calculated manoeuvres, deliberate actions. If Zahari wanted to disappear, he had the skills to make it happen. Well, still, there's no clear motive. There's no financial troubles, no personal struggles. He was loved by his family and he loved his family. It just leaves more questions and, well, no answers. Then comes Theory 4. Military intervention. Dun dun dun! Some believe that MH370 may have strayed into restricted airspace, perhaps near Diego Garcia, a US military base in the Indian Ocean. The theory suggests that the plane was intercepted, shot down, or redirected. Officials deny this, of course, but to some, those denials only fuel suspicion. You see, here's my problem with military intervention. Although it's plausible and it's not beyond the realms of possibility, to conspiracy theorists and lovers of critical thinking, governments are viewed with, understandably, heavy skepticism. You see, when governments lie like a crack addict trying to find the next fix, it's easy to build a healthy distrust for them. To put it short, when governments act like nails, hammers can't resist. And that's why I try not to lean into the military intervention side of things, purely because it's where I instinctively want to go, just like every other conspiracy theorist out there. And with that being said, it's time. Look, I've got to do this. I can't go into theories and not talk about the nut jobs. So, here we have the out there ideas. First there's alien abductions, then there's black holes, and then there's cyber hijacking. These theories may sound wild, but they reflect something deeper. Our human need to explain the unexplained. A black hole appearing out of nowhere to swallow up MH370 does, in fact, explain why a plane would disappear. But it's more about getting a scenario to fit the facts rather than the facts leading to a scenario. And that's why I tend to dismiss things like this, because even though it It sounds bizarre and it sounds like, oh, hang on a minute, you're a conspiracy theorist. You should believe in all this stuff. I don't. I'm a critical thinker. And critically, it doesn't make sense. Cyber hijacking, possibly. Possibly. But again, why? What would be the possible reason? We go back to the hijacking scenario. Normally, these people have demands, ransoms, but there's been nothing. So cyber hijacking again just doesn't make sense. The fact is, people often turn to the extraordinary when logic fails, and MH370 is certainly a case that defies logic in every possible way. This case has left a legacy. Beyond the theories and the search, MH370 has left a legacy that has changed aviation, resonated across the globe, and etched itself into the hearts of those connected to it. MH370's disappearance has forced the aviation industry to confront an uncomfortable truth. In an age of cutting-edge technology, a plane and its souls has vanished, and yet nobody can explain why. The response to this has been reforms, which quickly came. Airlines now report their position more frequently, especially over oceans. GPS-based tracking systems have become the new industry standard. No longer just an option, now a necessity. New protocols mean better cockpit communication. Emergency tools have been upgraded. The goal of all this is to ensure that no plane ever simply vanishes again. But here's the thing. These changes are a comfort, not a cure. Technology alone can't solve every mystery. MH370 is proof of that. It's a reminder that even in a world of progress, some questions remain unanswered. For the families of those on board, the legacy of MH370 is deeply personal. A missing piece of their lives, a wound that refuses to heal. Over the years, these families have become advocates. They've fought for continued searches, for transparency from governments, for their loved ones to be more than just a statistic. They turned their pain into action, ensuring MH370 remains in the public eye. Through vigils and remembrance ceremonies, they've kept this story alive, refusing to let it fade into memory. Their fight isn't just for closure, it's for justice, for recognition, and for a world that won't forget what was lost. MH370 isn't just an aviation mystery, it's a cultural phenomenon. It sparked countless documentaries, articles and debates, a story that keeps pulling us back. For many, this fascination isn't just about the loss, it's about the limits of our knowledge, the idea that even now some things can't be explained. And MH370 stands as a haunting reminder of exactly that. In its absence, we've built stories. Some based on fact, other pure imagination. It's human nature when faced with the unexplainable. We seek meaning, patterns. We seek answers. MH370's legacy is one of remembrance and unanswered questions. It's a lesson in resilience for the families, for the world, and for everyone who refuses to stop searching. For the 227 lives lost, it's a promise that their story won't be forgotten, and that one day we'll find the truth they deserve. And so, MH370 remains a mystery, a tragedy, and a legacy. The plane may be gone, but its impact lives on. In every safety reform, in every family's fight for closure, and in the hearts of a world that still wants answers. To the family and friends of those on board, our thoughts are with you. Your resilience inspires us all, and we hope one day the answers you seek will come to light. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into one of the world's greatest mysteries. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you have any theories you'd like to share? I'd love to hear them. I'll try to answer any questions you have, and if this story's resonated with you, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. You will not want to miss the very next file we open. This is Mike from Code Unknown, signing off. Remember, truth isn't hidden, it's just waiting to be found.